assemble all that content and get it out there as well. Okay. Now, next thing is how do you? The next thing is a case study by Conde Nast. Who's aware of Conde Nast? It's a publisher. They have titles. I think you will know from their titles in a bit, which I'll go through. What they do is they publish lots of different magazines like GQ and so on. So what they do is across their different properties, they have what they call personas. Now these personas are important to them not just for their own personalization, but they sell advertising to different companies based on these different segments. So if you work for Samsung Electronics, sorry for the boring reference, which in Korea, but maybe you want to target the tech enthusiast. If you work for Amore Pacific, you want to target the prestige pioneer. Right? So, or maybe different products within those different companies they want to target to this thing. So they actually sell these different personas in their audience. And what they do is based on all the different information they get, based on site behavior, which kind of articles people are reading, they're able to get more and more and more information about these people and build up a rich profile of their readers. So they've got 65 million total records in terms of their database, of which they only know 400,000. So if you think about Mark at the beginning, the unknown stuff, that's 65 million, and the known is 400,000. Obviously this is in the US, so the numbers are quite big, but it shows you that there's value in this as well. So you can target based on this, but you can do hyper-targeting on the people that you know about. So here's some of the brands. So Vogue, I've heard of. GQ, I've heard of. The New Yorker, Golf Digest, Vanity Fair. So these are some of the brands. So if you haven't heard of Conde Nast, I'm sure you've heard of many of these different titles. So their mission was to be the most, to have the most powerful brands in media, but was to take it from the brands in media to have the most powerful relationships in media. Okay, that was their internal mission. So, what content are people reading? Who is paying? So some of their content is paid for. Who is paying for that content has all access, and who's opting in for things like newsletters and updates and offers and products and so on that they actually do commerce for. And the mission is, through personalization, is to grow this, to move these circles together and grow this triangle type shape bigger and bigger all the time. Okay. How do they do that? They plotted this this graph of all the different stages of engagement. They also looked at it from an emotional point of view, and what's more an emotional decision and what's more a rational decision. Okay. So I'm going to go through this maybe a little bit fast, but we can show you a PDF of this later on. But first thing, attract new customers to the content. Okay. That means everything from looking at the posts that you put on Facebook, looking at testing the different times of day, looking at the traffic that comes to your site, and starting to learn as much as you can about those different experiences. So social obviously plays a big part in this content because their content is often shared across networks. Okay. Next was to give new users an understanding of the brand and its assets. So based on people that are starting to use the content, how do you, basically increase the click-through rates on things like here's some information, this is not an ad, but it's actually on content on their site. How do you increase the click-through rate by doing more and more personalization? And all the while, when they're doing this, they're making a richer and richer profile of that user. How do you then provide more opt-in content, which means two things. It means A, the user feels like they're in control, but it means when they opt in, they're giving you more data that you can use for greater personalization. So this is where you need to, they've done a lot of different tests, but this is to get people to subscribe to the newsletter. So newspaper acquisition is along here. They start doing some personalization, and the acquisition goes through the roof. And all they did is use the audience information they had about their users to drive their own uses, to drive newsletter subscriptions. From there, you then want to make the purchase process easy. So this is again a funnel for signing up. So I won't go through that. and then giving them opportunities to then share that content, so you've got the ability to share the content on social networks. They also basically have a tool that informs the editors and the authors and the people coming up with the content, what content is popular on social. They listen to what's happening on social, they listen to what content's being read all the time. So the product itself is changing based on what the users are doing. So they have this overall overview as well. I'm going to walk across to play a video. I've talked about Conde Nast, I'll let Conde Nast talk about Conde Nast.
Conde Nast is one of the largest publishers in the United States.
This organization was built around art. If you look at the print product that they put out on a monthly basis, that is a groundbreaking, culture-defining, true work of art. Vogue, Vanity Fair, GQ, Architectural Digest. We have such passionate followers. They love that product.
They do love the content, and they want that content to be available wherever it is, wherever they are.
Conde Nast has been a leader in the development of the digital side of the publishing business.
The digital magazines are incredibly important for us to make the content more available. The initial challenges that we encountered were that we've been very used to publishing content monthly. The consumer demand doesn't allow for a content production cycle that slow.
Living up to what the consumer expects from us is very challenging.
With all this data that we collect, we now have a tight feedback loop that we can feed information over to the editorial teams and really create a lot of daily content. And we're publishing this on the websites and in the digital magazines as well.
How can we learn about this user and give them a better experience? Conde Nast and Adobe have been working together for a really long time. All of our magazines and our digital editions are all created with Adobe tools.
We use the Adobe Marketing Cloud to gather lots of rich data on the consumers, what the consumers' preferences are, how they interact with the products, and what type of content attracts new people. We've created a very clever system to reach people better and speak to them in a better way.
We aren't carpet bombing all of the audience. We're being very specific about who we want to offer specific products to. Being able to identify those people is something that wouldn't have been possible without Adobe Target and Adobe Audience Manager.
People who we know that are interested in the fashion style content, we have a personalized experience explaining how a subscription to the GQ magazine can help you dress better and sort of step up your fashion game.
The response to that has been really fantastic in the marketplace.
We can also do incredibly detailed analytics from Adobe Social. We have tens of millions of Facebook followers and Twitter followers. The social tools are a really great way to introduce people to the brand, but ultimately we want to convert these people into regular site visitors.
We partnered with Adobe's team of experts to identify certain segments of audiences that are the most loyal. It really has helped both our marketing team understand who the people to focus on are, but also from the editorial side that you can start to learn about who is this core audience and who should I be developing content for.
And this allows us to extrapolate what will happen in the future. There's no other solution that really competes with the Adobe Marketing Cloud.